One, I opened up the chat box. Does it, I have some questions that we could go over and stuff, but does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask before we get started? Okay. Inelastic, Charlie, its coefficient is less than 1. Elastic, the coefficient is greater than 1. Inelastic means the response to price, if price goes up 10%, quantity demanded would go down less than 10%. Elastic, if price goes up 10%, quantity demanded would go up more than 10%. Now, you always want to tax the more inelastic curve because quantity will change the least. Charlie, is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Parker, could you remind me of marginal cost first? All right. In every test I've taken, there's been at least one question where you have to know there's an inverse relationship between marginal cost and marginal productivity, meaning if marginal cost is going down, marginal productivity is going up. And if marginal productivity is going down, marginal cost is going up. Is that what you wanted, Parker? Okay, good. When MC crosses ATC, no. When M, no. We got a couple of things here. I gotta scroll up a little, sorry. Okay. When MR crosses ATC, that's nothing. When MC crosses demand, that's socially optimal. When ATC crosses demand, that's fair return. So when MC crosses demand, that's socially optimal or allocatively efficient. They mean the same. Okay. All right. A lump sum would be either a lump sum subsidy or a lump sum tax. That'd be at the end of the year saying the government giving you 50,000, which is a subsidy, or taking away 50,000, which is a tax. Lump sum only shifts ATC, subsidy down, tax up. A per unit subsidy would shift MC to the right and ATC down. A per unit tax, which is called an excise tax, would shift MC left and ATC up. The three key graphs for tomorrow, that could be the first question, which is worth 15 out of 30 points, would be a monopoly, perfect competition, or a natural monopoly. Remember, natural monopoly has the downward sloping ATC, which means there's economies of scale, and it's one business better services the market because of extreme fixed costs. I also sent out a link today on Remind of a video I made of all you need to know about perfect competition and monopolies. Now, it doesn't address natural monopolies, but if you know how to draw the natural monopolies, all the other questions are the same. If you know the information on that, and you could draw, like I said, a monopoly, a natural monopoly, or perfect competition, you'll do very well on the big FRQ. Anything else you would like to ask me before I have some questions to get started, like practice questions? Jackson, like 20 to 25% of the time, game theory is one of the small FRQs, but it's really hard to guess what that will be. Like, it could be anything. Like game theory's there, the marginal utility of price, marginal utility over the price of X is one. They could just give you a small supply and demand type. So anything is open for tomorrow. I don't know, do I have elasticities? Okay, in the factor, which is also called the labor market, the two big shifters of demand I would know, Stowe, and this gets to where I wrote MRP equals MRC. That's the profit maximizer. But since Stowe, you asked this, MP times P, they ask a question about that every test, where they'll give you a chart and say, what's the MRP of the fourth worker? You got to find the marginal product times the price, and they give you the price. So two of the shifters for demand is marginal product, which is often technology, and price of the product. The third is like a substitute. If robots are cheaper than people, the demand for people goes down. The key shifter of supply is usually number of workers, but it could be alternative, meaning Howard County / teachers pay in half, the supply of teachers in Baltimore County would increase. And then leisure or women in the workforce type things. Is that what you needed, Stowe? Eddie, obviously time differs from all of you, but usually you get 50 minutes, and usually people are not time pressured. I've given you much less time in class than you would get. The big FRQ, like which would be on the monopoly, the natural monopoly, or perfect competition, they give you 25 minutes. And then the two smaller ones, you usually get 12 and a half, 12 and a half.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Zero economic profit and normal profit are the same. Yeah, Sebastian, there's an inverse relationship between price and total revenue when you're elastic. And just think of it this way, if it's elastic, when price goes up, quantity demanded goes down more. Okay? So price times quantity is total revenue. So if price is going up 10%, quantity demanded has to go down at least 11%. All right. So there is an inverse relationship there. And keep in mind, monopolies operate in the elastic region of the curve. So they ask those type of questions. Inelastic, price and total revenue have a direct relationship. Great questions. Any other questions? Yeah, Drew, lump sum would be either a tax or subsidy that the government, like a tax where the government takes money away from you, or a subsidy where the government gives you at the end of the year. That will only shift the ATC. A subsidy will go ATC down, a tax will go ATC up. When ATC shifts, nothing changes for lump sum except the profits. A per unit subsidy or an excise tax shifts MC and ATC. So there you're going to get a change in price, quantity, deadweight loss, and everything. Any other questions people have before? Okay. Okay. Just I talked about MRP and MFC. Just remember it's MP times P. I mean, the basic thing to know is ATC equals AVC plus AFC. Okay, so average total cost equals average variable cost and average fixed cost. The way to find fixed cost, just fixed cost, is looking at zero. What is the cost at zero output? And zero output is always fixed cost. Okay, I'm going to look at these here. MR versus MRC, that's just profit maximizer. In the product market, MRP and MRC are profit maximizers in the labor market. You really need to know allocatively efficient, which is MC crosses demand. There seems to be a lot of questions there. And just know when you're graphing, you need to graph the MC at the ATC's lowest point, which is productively efficient. Okay. Income elasticity. All I'm going to say is all I remember last year is the guys getting really mad at me because there was a lot of elasticity. I don't know, will it be the same? But I would just make sure I know up, like for income, all of them, percentage change quantity for income. On the bottom, it would be percentage change income. Okay. A positive number is going to be normal good. Negative number is going to be inferior good. A normal good, all that means is income up, demand up. Income down, demand down. A negative number is an inferior good, and all that means is income up, demand down. Income down, demand up. Now, cross price elasticity is pretty much the same, right? But it's percentage change of quantity of A over percentage change of price of B. And again, it's important to note that positive is substitutes and negative is complements. Okay, MC. We talked about the inverse relationship between marginal cost and marginal productivity. The least cost combination, that's the percentage change of the marginal product of labor over the percentage change of price of labor equals the percentage change of the marginal product of capital over the percentage change of price of capital. And the least cost and the maximize, you're always increasing the bigger number and decreasing the smaller. Anytime I saw in a question like labor and capital, I mean, the least cost is coming up. All right. And by the way, if you didn't do the practice test, yes, you could get calculators tomorrow. And you could bring your calculator, Ben. And the least cost and the maximize. So anytime you see like labor and capital, it's definitely that least cost combination. And again, I would say there's one question. Same thing with maximizing satisfaction, the margin. The thing about maximizing satisfaction, sometimes it's the small FRQ. All right, shutdown, we shut down in the short run, price below AVC. We exit in the long run, price below ATC. Dane, I gave that out. I don't have it handy. I will look for it after this and send it out on Remind. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
But Dane, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure monopolies and perfect competition dominated the questions. Like there were 20 on those two topics. Okay. And demand elasticity greater than 1, elastic 1 unit, and under 1 inelastic. Okay. I was saying, I really would take the practice test I gave you guys. I think it's a very good sample. I'll also be in my room tomorrow at 7:45 to about 8:30 to answer any questions. I got to proctor the first test tomorrow, but after the first test is over, which I think it's Spanish, is tomorrow, like at 10:15. I'll come back to my room if it's empty for another half hour if people want to do it then. Um, yeah, Sam, I'm going to just draw because I think it's the best. That is perfectly elastic. Okay, it's like Mr. Dark in perfect competition, and then perfectly inelastic looks like an eye, just like that. Okay. Um, yeah, I'll get that in 1 second, Dane. All right. So those are the, perfectly elastic and inelastic that way. For demand elasticity, Dane, greater than one, elastic, one unit elastic, less than one inelastic. It's percentage change, quantity demanded on top over percentage change in price. Okay. All right. All right. I have a couple multiple choice questions that we could look at here. I'll keep the chat box open. I'll ask you not to answer, like we could give everyone a minute to look at them. All right. If anyone wants to, on the count of three, chat in their letter. 1, 2, 3. What do we have here? I look like, okay, Diaz and Dogwood is correct. Implicit costs are greater than accounting profits. Remember, accountants are total revenue minus explicit cost. Economists, which is all our cost curves, are total revenue minus explicit and implicit. An explicit cost being like rent, anything you would really pay money. An implicit cost would be if we knock Calvert Hall down, what could we get for the land that Calvert Hall's on? Okay, let me try to get all these things out of the way so you can see this. If tortilla chips are a normal good, what happens to equilibrium price and quantity when there's an increase in income? Give you about 40 seconds there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What do we got? Okay, we've got C, right? It's a normal good, income up, demand increase. So equilibrium price and quantity would increase. That isn't a choice, so you pick C. Okay. If there's ever a question on these, just again, chat in the box for a better explanation than maybe the one I gave. Okay, let me get this. Yeah. Okay. If the price of a good is increased by 15% and the quantity demanded changes by 20, then the absolute value of price elasticity. Remember, for demand and supply elasticity, it's absolute value. Okay. So I'll give you like a minute to think about this. Okay, what do we have here? I'm getting C's. I'm getting C's. Okay. All right. So quantity demanded is on top. So it'd be 20 over 15, which is 1 1/3, which is approximately 1.33. So C as in Caroline. It is elastic because it's greater than 1. So if price goes up in an elastic part, total revenue would decrease. Okay. All right. Uh, there it is. I just gave you the formula and everything. All right. Let's see. Can I move this up a little? Okay. That might disappear in a second. Price elasticity. If the cross price elasticity of electricity with respect to the price of natural gas has been estimated as being equal to zero point 0.2, that implies that. Give you a minute to think about that. Okay, what do we have? I'm getting E as an Ellen. It is a positive. Positives are substitutes. All right, one thing I just want to warn you, they could have put a negative number with what is gas and electricity because they don't want you to get it right because you know that gas is a substitute for electricity. So focus on the number. Now, if you totally forgot, is it positive or negative? And then you could try to, imply, but okay. Oh man, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. I don't know. We could. Okay. I'm going to just walk us through um, game theory question here. All right. I gotta just try to get this out of the way so I can see. All right, it's Blue Spring over here on the left, and it's Purple Rain here. So I'm going down. I'm going to look at Blue Spring. You can't do it because you can't see. All right. You can't do it because you can't see the Blue Springs profit. But I would look down and, 20,000 compared to this, you'd have to decide what Blue Spring would do, 2,000 compared to this. And then you're looking across for Purple Rain. Uh, I didn't realize that was going to come out with that. All right. I hope there's another game theory somewhere in this. All right. The marginal product of the third worker is, anytime there's marginal, all right, it's going to be 27 minus 20. All right. It could be marginal product. It could be marginal revenue. It could be marginal utility. It could be marginal benefit. You're just taking, you're just subtracting from the one before that. So the third, 27 minus 20 is 7. All right. Let me get that chat back up for the next one. Okay. All right. In monopolistic competition, what's going to happen to market share and demand in the long run? Take a minute and think what's going to happen to market share and demand in the long run. All right, let's take the first thing. A firm's going to enter or exit. Okay, we're going to enter, right? Prices, ATC is below the price, so we're going to enter. There's an AVC here. So anytime I see an AVC, I'm going to be wary of shutdown, but I'm not shutting down here. Prices above ATC. Firms are going to enter. All right. What's going to happen to market share when firms enter? Increase, decrease, or stay the same? Okay, I'm getting decreases, which is right. And then what's going to happen to demand? Shift right, left, or stay the same? Okay. It's going to shift left till you get to zero economic profit. No, it's going to shift left because you're going to get down to zero. Demand and MR are both going to shift down to get to zero economic profit. Okay? Okay. All right. You just got to remember the competition don't make money in the long run. All right. And there is your zero economic profit, right? And your ATC is touching at the price where the marginal cost goes through the long run ATC, it's at its lowest. Now, at the profit maximizer, you really got economies of scale. Eduardo, market share decreases. Market share is, do you have more or less customers? All right. And it decreases because if I have Phil's Pizza and Jackson opens Jackson's Hamburgers and Eduardo has Eduardo's Tacos, that's going to take some of my customers away. Does that make sense, Eduardo? No, Stowe, an increase in market share would increase the demand curve. It would increase market size. Are you good, Stowe? Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let me get this out of the way so I can see the question. Out of the way. So, suppose a monopolistic competitive firm can increase profits by decreasing its output. Then it must be the case at the current level of output. I'll give you a minute. This is a favorite type of question of theirs. Okay, what do we have here? All right, I've got E's. All right, very good. All right. If we could increase output, it means we're not at the profit maximum. I mean, if we could increase profit by changing output, it means we're not at the profit maximizer. All right. If we're decreasing output, that means marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, or E, marginal revenue is less than marginal cost. One way or the other, there'll be a question like this where you have to know that you're going to either decrease output or increase output. And that's based on you increase if marginal revenue is greater, you decrease if marginal cost is greater. Any questions on that one? Yeah. Dane, I just moved back here. Dane, if marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, we're going to produce more. And if marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, we're going to produce less. Caleb, that is true in all, right, in all the graphs. In the product market, in the labor market, it'd be marginal revenue product and marginal and wage. Are you both good now? Before I turn to the next question? Okay. All right. The firm's current output level, average fixed cost is 10, average variable cost is 30, average total cost is 40, and marginal cost is 55. Which of the following must be true? Give you a minute. One, two, three. What do we got here? Where I saw a D and E. All right. We're a little scattered here, mostly D's. All right. So one, average fixed cost always is decreasing because fixed cost is the same. So if it's 100 for one output, the average fixed cost would be 100. Then two outputs would be 50. Then three is so average fixed cost always has to be decreasing. So I can knock out average fixed cost, or I can knock out B, and okay, I guess just B. Now, average fixed cost is decreasing. If marginal cost, think of margin as your test. If average total cost is a 40, if your average is a 40 and you get a 55, your average total cost is going to go up. So average total cost has to be increasing. The same thing with average variable cost. If that's 30 and marginal cost is 55, that has to go up. So it's D as in dogwood. Okay, any questions? Okay. Firm pays its workers. I just can't see it. The firm pays its workers the value of marginal product of the last worker hired Which of the following is true? Okay, what do we have here? Are we stumped? I got an A, getting some A's. All right. All right. So say the last worker hire, he brings in $60 of revenue. That's the value of the marginal product, and we pay him 60, right? The last worker does not make any economic profit, but the worker before might have brought in 70 and we paid him 60. We don't really know what that person did. So the firm will not earn, the firm can still earn economic profit. But what we know is the contribution of the last worker hired to the firm's profit will be zero because the last worker put in 60 and we paid him 60. I made those numbers up just to show you, but we're paying them exactly what they brought in. So therefore, they cannot earn economic profit. Okay. Anyone have a question on that? If you do and you need more explanation, please let me know.
So wait, what's the answer?
E as in Ellen.
Okay.
Yes, it's E. Okay.
So it's zero because the worker, they pay him the amount that he earns, right? So it
That he
like
brought
cancels
in,
out.
right. So
Okay.
say like his marginal product was 10. So he made 10 pizzas at $10 a pizza. He brought in $100 and they paid him $100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, hold it. Let me, there's a couple of things in the chat. So let me, what if they paid the worker less? All right. They can't pay him less than he brings in. They wouldn't hire him. If they paid him more than the marginal revenue product, then they're making profit. All right, Bruce. Yes. So like, right, Mike, everyone's getting paid like 60, even though other workers might have brought in 80 or 90. So that's how they're making economic profit. Does that make sense? Okay. That's question 54. Usually a hard. Which of the following is necessary for a firm's price discrimination? Okay, what do we have here? We've got a couple of E, C, S, and Caroline, C. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm just drawing a monopoly graph here for a second. All right. So price discrimination would take the MR curve and just erase it. Okay. And demand would become Mr. Top. So looking at that, that's not perfectly inelastic. It's not perfectly elastic. It's relatively elastic. The answer here is C. And the reason why is if I'm letting John pay 20 because that's what he wants to pay, and he could resell it to Nick, who's going to make 30, who's willing to pay 30, then that hurts me because I can't make the money off Nick that I want. So perfect price discrimination. And if you think of college, like you can't sell your education, like it's not resellable. So that's what makes it things. Movies, like they could have a senior discount, a student discount. Well, you can't resell the movie. All right. Our cartel, Caleb, would be a group of, it's in an oligopoly where a group kind of gets together and acts like a monopoly. All right. Now, let me just talk about the price discrimination. I said demand, MR folds into demand. Demand would equal MR. You go to where MR equals MC, and that's your profit maximizer. Okay. But I also want you to remember no consumer surplus, no deadweight loss. All right. And they usually will do something like draw it out like this. And I'm just not going to put the ATC. And they'll say if this became a price discriminating monopoly, where would it produce that? You know, MR's good, demand's good at MR and demand are going to be one. I go to where MC equals MR, and that's my profit maximizer for price discrimination. Okay. Any questions on price discrimination? I mean, expect the question on it and no more than one, but one. That was question 55. I think it makes it a little harder because they kind of asked you something there. Which of the following explains why a decrease in the price of a normal good will lead to an increase in quantity demanded? All right. So I'm going to look at this while people. Oh, it makes economic profit. Price discrimination makes a lot of profit. No consumer surplus, no deadweight loss, plenty of economic profit. Now I'm going to graph the whole thing out now for you so you can make. That's MC here. Let's just put the ATC down here. So if it becomes price discrimination, what happens is MR goes away, okay? And then, all right, so I got to see, could I get this to work? All right, so now this becomes MR and demand. So you go to MC equals MR, you go here, and you take it across, and this, everything in here is profit. So like what would be consumer surplus is now profit. Are you good now, Dev? Okay. This. All right. Which of all right. What do people got for 49? All right. Okay, it's A, right? Because if Coke is $1 a can and I have $10, I could buy 10 cans. If it goes to 50 cents, I could buy 20. So that's the income effect, which is really about purchasing power. Second thing is so-called the substitution effect. That would be, if price goes down, I'm going to buy more Coke than Pepsi. And then the third would be the law of marginal utility. Okay. That's like, I think the questions I had for tonight. If any, again, please take the test. And please don't just come in and say you took 20 of them. Somehow figure out how to take all 60 of them. And if you have any questions, we'll be there at 7:45 in the morning. And I'll also try to come after the first exam. I will chat back up. If you have any questions before you leave, feel free to type them in. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bring your calculators. That people type so then I can answer. Geez. I'm a mess here. But there are 3 elasticity. What does that say? Are you still there?
I am still here.
What is your question? So there are 3 elasticity.
Well, you have
There's elasticity of supply and demand, which are the same, right? Percentage change in quantity of supply or percentage change in quantity of demand over price. There's income elasticity, and then there is price elasticity.
okay. So income elasticity is normal or inferior goods.
Right,
Elasticity demand is substitute complements, right?
right. Positive substitute, negative is complements. That's cross price. Charlie, I'm going to get to you.
Okay. And then you said we have elasticity of supply and demand, correct?
Yeah. The
And that
same.
just tells you if it's elastic or inelastic, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so 3. So supply, demand, and income.
No. Supply and demand would be 1. Income would be 2. Cross price would be 3.
Okay. Cross price is substitute complements.
Right. Income is normal and inferior. And supply, either the supply or the demand is inelastic or elastic.
Thank you.
Dane, for income, it's percentage change in demand over percentage change of income.
Okay, and then normal goods are negative coefficient, and then
No. Normal goods are positive.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Charlie, 59 and 60, we didn't learn yet. You're not responsible for it. That's kind of why the midterm is 55 questions, because we didn't get some of them. And 59 and 60 would be an example of a couple we didn't get to. You don't need to know that. You're not responsible for it.
Do you know any other numbers of questions that we aren't responsible for?
Yeah, let me try to I didn't really look that carefully, but let me look. 14. 15. 29. 30. 45. That would be it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bressler,
Yes.
I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong places, but where do we find the practice exam?
I gave it to you.
Oh, okay, it's that one.
Yeah,
All right. Alrighty,
Right.
thank you.
all right. Deb, I'm gonna switch back to that slide, and then as from there, I will also answer 58 and 51. This the one you meant, Deb?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to do it because you can't see the
Right.
profits.
I just wanted to like reaffirm how to read it. So if I
Okay.
wanted to know about Blue Spring, and I wanted to see what Purple Rain was doing. If I wanted to know if Blue Spring would go high, I would look at Purple Rain's high price and then
Or
pretend
here,
like
now, I'm looking at Blue Spring, I'm looking down, right?
right,
If Purple Rain goes high, I'm just gonna put in 10 here, right?
right,
Blue Spring, go high and make 3,000 or low and make 10,000.
right. They're gonna go 20.
20,
Put a
right?
check there.
Right. And then if Purple Rain goes low, Blue Spring could go high and make 2, lose 2, low and
Okay.
make 10. So they're gonna go low and make,
Right.
okay?
And then
Now,
okay,
if I
so
want
then
to
if
see what Purple Rain's gonna do, look across, and we actually do,
okay.
right? So if Blue Spring goes high, what should Purple Rain do?
If Blue Spring goes high, Purple Rain should go low.
And then if Blue Spring goes low, Purple Rain should,
Um, they should also go low.
so they have a dominant strategy of low. Okay.
Okay. And then Nash's equilibrium is bottom right.
Yes,
Okay.
all right.
All
Right,
right. That
Sabi,
makes
you want
sense.
51. Which of the following helps explain why the demand curve for a normal good is, okay, so the income effect, Savi, the income effect is saying, if price goes down, people's purchasing power increases. So therefore quantity demanded would increase. All right. The substitution effect says if price goes down, people are going to buy more of that good. So quantity demanded would increase. So they work together. All right. And then I'll get you in 1 second, Dane. So that's 51. Does that make sense to you, Savi?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. Then 58 was your other one. Okay, so the answer there, D, marginal revenue product equals marginal factor cost. That's the profit maximizer. So what that's saying is the marginal revenue product, that's what the worker brings in, is equal to its wage. Because marginal factor costs and marginal resource costs are equal to wage.
Oh, they just had it worded differently, so I was
Yes.
confused. Okay.
Okay,
Yes. Thank you.
all right. For lump sum taxes, is it just MC? No. For lump sum, it's just ATC. And for per unit, it's MC and ATC. And Mike said that. I didn't notice that till just now. Okay. Anyone else with any other questions?
I have another question on the test.
Yeah, sure.
I think it was 49.
49. All right. So if you're willing to pay $1.50 for something or 1,500 for another, the thing you're willing to pay 1,500 has to have a greater satisfaction or benefit, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't pay that much.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions anyone has?